It's good, YouTube. Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that what to expect season preview analysis based off how the roster is currently constructed going into the regular season. In preseason, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bulls, a team that was a surprise in the Eastern Conference with 39 wins, which is what they won 2 years ago in the 23-24 season. And it wasn't too far from the 22-23 and the 21-22. But they did lose a whole lot of talent like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, who was all stars for this team. And now they're going in more of a younger direction, which is fine, and it does make sense for them to do that because every team has the team that they like the most and try to go all in with. And if it works, then they win a championship. If it doesn't work, then you have to go figure out how to win all over again with a new group of guys. And that's basically what they're trying to do with this roster. The guy that's holding on for dear life right now for this team might be Nikola Vucevic. Obviously, he's one of the best bigs in the league because he averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds on 53% shooting, while also shooting 40% from three. That was very, very impressive. He wasn't that great defensively, but he still showed that he can hang in there and be one of the most, versatile bigs in the game offensively. Played 73 games, started 72 of them, and he was able to play 31 minutes per game, showing you that he was a big part of what they was doing and a big part of their offense, setting screens, spacing the floor, being able to post up from time to time and finish close to the rim. Those are all the things that he brought to the table for the Chicago Bulls. And I think that this is going to be the last season that they have him. I don't know if they're going to have him the entire year, but they might as well get the best out of him as much as they can while he still is at a decent age, which he's at 34, which isn't that bad, especially because he's not a guy predicated on athleticism. He just understands how to play the game the right way and still be effective, and he showed that last year. And it was impressive to see him still hang around at an all-star kind of level because his offense and his rebounding was just that good. Another guy that really had a good season was Kobe White. He ended up getting to the 20-point threshold for the first time in his career. He showed that he can be somewhat of a playmaker. He showed that he can be a guy that can get hot in his career, especially early on. But they looked at it like he can handle the ball, he can get to the basket, he can get to his pull-ups. He's a guy that can come off screens and knock down shots from time to time. He also shot a career high in threes with 7.9 attempts, and he was able to knock him down, and he was able to get to the free throw line the most in his career, 4.1 free throws attempts per game, and he shot them at a career high 90.2%, which was very impressive also. I think he was probably one of the biggest stories for the Chicago Bulls because they knew that he could play when they drafted him, and he ended up living up to being a guy that was worth picking up at a 7th overall pick for them, and he became the guy that they seen when they got him. He's a guy that's a fire starter. The guy can really erupt, and he's very, very good. And I don't really look at him as a superstar or a potential one, but he's a legitimate player in this league, and I think he's going to stay with Chicago for a couple more years. We're going to see if he can take another step forward or take another leap. But if he can't, he has already had a decent career because it's hard to average 20 points per game when you're only 6'5", 195. But a lot of people have been doing it lately in this era because of the three-point shooting. Matas Bazelis, he's a guy that we all know. They drafted this guy because they knew he had potential. They knew he had upside. He didn't really get a ton of playing time early in the season, but he ended up getting it at the end of the season, and he's only 20 years old. He has the body, he has the length, he has the athleticism to be a good player. 45% from the field is really good for a rookie. A lot of it had to do with being near the paint or getting out in transition. Those are shots you still have to make. Those are opportunities you still have to take advantage of. And he was able to do that for the most part. Not only that, he played 80 games and only missed 2 games, and he also started 31 of them after certain trades happened. Opportunity arose, and he took it and did his thing. But you definitely want to see him getting about 15 to 18 points this year. He should be starting. His body should be a little bit more developed. His IQ should be a little bit higher. He showed that he can be a respectable 3-point shooter by shooting 36% on 3.3 attempts per game last year. He needs to be an improved rebounder because he might play the three, he might play the four, but he has to be able to help close out possessions for his teammates if they're going to try to win a lot of games this year. And we're going to see if they're going to be able to do it. But he has shown a lot of promise. I'm looking at him as a guy I'm impressed by and I want to see more of. 6'10" is a good body, especially when you have the athleticism to go with it. And now he just has to improve his handle. Now he just has to improve his consistency with his jump shooting, especially off the dribble. And now he has to also gain more strength because if you're 6'10", you want to get more strength on your body because you're only weighing 209. That's not enough. You know what I mean? Muhammad Gay and those guys are having that type of weight problem too. They get bumped around and pushed around a little bit too much for their position. And if he wants to get the best out of his skill set, he's going to have to be able to take contact. And if he does that, he can get to the free throw line more, and that can give him more points and put guys in trouble. And it gives him another weapon that he can use offensively to be a better scorer. And Matas understands that because he's been playing basketball for a couple years because of high school and college. Now he's at the highest level he can get to. Now it's time to try to be the best player you can be. Javon Carter, I like him. He's a pesky defender. He can knock down perimeter shots from three. He didn't shoot well from three last year with the Bulls in 36 games that he played. He only shot 33%, but he's a career 37% shooter from the three-point line, so I think he'll get that going. But that's what majority of his shots come from is from three. And I think that he has to get that going again, and he just has to keep his competitive fire going, and he can be a decent role player for them. I can say the same about Zach Collins. They're paying him a good amount of money, a good chunk of money, but he has shown that he can be a big that can do multiple things, and he's only 27 years old. That sounds a little older than what you think he might be, but he can play the power forward position, and he does need to work on his three-point shooting because he's not the stretch four that they might thought that he could be for them, but they still believe in him. That's why they made the move to get him. He did shoot 50% from the field. That's something that he did back-to-back seasons, and that'll be something that he needs to continue to try to have. Well, he shot it for the Bulls 54%, and then obviously when he got there, he was able to finish the season with that type of percentage from both teams. But he can be a guy that can give you double figures, and he is a guy that can give you rebounds if you give him the minutes, if you give him the opportunity. And we're going to see if he's going to be able to do a little bit more offensively for the Chicago Bulls. Ayo Dosunmu, they're looking for a little bit more from him. He was able to give them 12 points. He was really, really good when it comes to trying to compete defensively. He is a legitimate 6'5", 200 pounds. He is a guy that can hit threes. Obviously, you want him to be better at it. He has shown signs that he can, and he also has shown signs that he can be a decent playmaker when he has the ball or just keeping the ball moving or finding guys, by trying to find a way to get to the paint and collapse the defense. And it's just good to see him be a double-figure scorer. But the problem with him last year was that he didn't play that much. He only played 46 games, and he only started 26 of them. You want to see more of him. He's one of the guys that you want to continue to build around and see what he can bring to the table. He played 4 seasons for the Bulls. Obviously, he's ready to do more for them and help them become a playing team again or even a lock for the playoffs, and they're going to need him playing at his best and being available if that's going to happen. Kevin Huerter, he's another solid player for them. He's mainly known for his jump shooting. Not the greatest defender, not the greatest mid-range shooter, not the greatest finisher, but he also didn't shoot the three ball crazily last year. It was just respectable. But it can happen that way, and as long as this guy is being aggressive and looking for a shot and just being ready to shoot whenever he's open, that's all you can really hope for him to be. He's not going to really do too much other than that. He might make some good plays here and there when it comes to passing the ball and finding teammates, which is impressive because they got a lot of guys that believes in playing team ball over ISO ball or even all at either other than hero ball, which is always good. And you got to give the coach credit for that because that's what you want to instill in them. We rather attack as a team than attack as an individual. 1.2 steals for him. That was very good to see. Hopefully he can replicate that. They're going to need his scoring production. Played 26 games for them, averaged 13 points. You definitely want him to replicate that this year coming up. Trey Jones, he's a guy that's been hyped up a lot, and a lot of guys are looking to see what he can be and what he can do. He shot really, really good from the field to be a guy that's smaller. 53% is very impressive. He has had seasons where he was able to do that before. You just hope that he can continue it. 39% from three was one of the better years that he had, although he didn't attempt that many. But just making them when it matters is always going to be important. And then being a good free throw shooter when he does get to the line helps too. He always already gave you 4.2 assists. He has done that before on other teams, showing you that he can orchestrate and run the offense when needed and just make the right decisions, whether it's passing or scoring. And that's probably his strongest thing that he can do. And hopefully he can bring that to the table this year too, because he's been able to show it throughout his NBA career. Yuka, I don't really know what he is going to bring to the table. Same with Caleb Grill, same with Noah. You can even say the same with Wuga, Poplar, or even Jalen Smith. Those guys are a mystery. You know that they belong in the NBA, but they haven't really shown enough to where you believe in them to be guys that's going to come in and help you win games or come in and make a significant difference. I just don't see it happening right now in their career. Is better players that the Bulls can play in those roles, in those opportunities. You can even add Emmanuel Miller in there. You can even add Olbrich in there. You can even add Julian Phillips in there. These guys that might show what they can be 2 to 3 years from now, if they even on this roster, because there's going to be other young players coming in from the draft from the future. And these guys may not be guys you can rely on that much now or even in the future, but they was good enough to be on the roster now. They're trying them out. They're seeing what they can do. They're seeing what they can be. They're seeing if they can fit within this system and this culture and what this team is trying to accomplish on both ends of the court. But we don't really know exactly how good they are until we see what they do, especially if they can do it for 2 years, because I don't really expect them to do much this year based off how the roster is constructed and what the coach Billy Donovan is trying to do with this roster. Because of course he's trying to win for his own career, and that's what you try to do as a coach. You try to win with what you have and win with what you got. And I think he understands that because he has done it before, and he's trying to get this team back to a playoff spot. And those guys will hurt that chance. And I think he's not going to really try to go that route too much this year, but he might do it in the future. Um, Jalen Smith does have some size and some good athleticism, and he does have the potential to be a guy that can knock down some shots from the perimeter. Hasn't done it enough, hasn't shown it enough, but he did do it from time to time, where he played for Indiana, and he did show it a little bit there, and he didn't really show it enough with Chicago in his first season with them. He did play 64 games, but he only played 15 minutes and didn't really do much besides rebound and score, around the paint, which is where you want him to be. But the perimeter shot, you would love if that came along too, because it make him a guy that can be a okay rim protector plus a guy that doesn't really get in the way, but he finds a way to score when it's needed. And just by paying attention to what's going on the floor is what you want him to be. And that's what he was showing that he might be in college and high school. Hasn't really worked out too much for him in the NBA so far, but he's still young. He's 25, so we'll see what he can do. Patrick Williams, you never really know what the guy. He has been a little bit of a disappointment considering he was a number 4 pick, but they paid him. They showed that they believed in him. They showed that they want him. He doesn't really have too much trade value around the NBA, but he's a legitimate 24 years old, 6'8", 215. His body is developing. The game is slowing down for him a little bit. Hopefully, he's more healthy this year than he was last year and the year before that. Other than that, we just gonna have to let him show us what he can do, improve what he can be. And if he has another disappointment year, we just gonna have to look at it like this is what he is, this is what he's gonna be, and he's just gonna have to play out that contract to a certain extent. And they just gonna have to eat it at this point. It's part of the game. Either you want the player or you don't. They showed that they wanted them. They showed they want to take a gamble on it when they drafted them. They trying to see it through, and that's all you can really be as a Chicago Bulls fan. Anyway, is just hope that the guys you draft or the guys you trade for can be exactly what you want them to be or close to it. And so far, Patrick Williams hasn't been that, but he still has a chance next year to show that he might be. And that's the game you play with the younger guys. Muhammad Gay, like I said, he's a guy that you like to a certain extent. You just hope he can do more. He only played one season with Toronto. They taking a flyer on him to see can he be a guy that can protect the rim and rebound and finish at the rim in some spot minutes here and there, especially if Vucevic chooses to move on or they choose to move on from him. I think that that would be when he can get the minutes and the opportunity, and same with Jalen Smith. But other than that, I think that that'd be it for him when it comes to his role, and I think he can do that role. It's not that hard to do when you're that athletic and you're that fast, but he still has to do it at a high enough level to where they want to give him the minutes and they want to continue to let him play that role for them, because they can always go in a different direction because of free agency and the buyout market. But I don't think they're going to worry about that too much. They rather have younger players and older players at this point of where they at with the roster. Other than that, Dalen Terry, I don't really see him being that much for him. I don't see him doing much for them, but he might have a slight bigger role on the roster this year. Maybe get from 13 to 17 to 19 minutes, but it does matter if he makes his threes. It does matter if he can score high volumely and efficiently. If he can do that, while being a good defender and being a decent athlete, maybe he can crack more of the rotation, and that will be something to look forward to if you're a Chicago Bulls fan. But the team is really built around Kobe White, obviously, and Matas Buzelis. Those are the guys that I'm looking at the most. Those are the guys I'm going to see what they can do the most. And other than that, Chicago don't really have a crazy amount of talent. So even if they do have a similar type of season like they've been having the last couple years, you just hope they get a good draft pick if they don't make the playoffs, and then try to find a way to get a superstar player in the draft and develop them into that if they have to. And I think that that's going to be something that they're going to be basically forced to do at the end of the day. And that's something that they ain't going to really have too much of a choice. Either you get to start through the draft or you have enough assets to trade for them. I don't look at this as a team that has enough assets to trade for a superstar. They don't have enough players that I'm crazy over. You can say, well, Matas, he has the body, he has the skill possibly to be that. We still have to see that come to fruition. We still have to see that happen, even though he does, to me, look like he has upside to be one, especially because he's really, really young. And he already has shown a lot of his untapped potential, and he already showed that he can be a starter already in the NBA. So he's going in the right direction, but you still gonna need somebody else. 1, 2, you still need 3. You still need a legit 4, and they need a legit 5. When it comes to being a center, they still gonna need rebounding and rim protection, and they're gonna have to find a way to close off that paint. We know that Kobe White ain't the greatest defender. They don't really have a crazy amount of great defenders on this roster. That's always going to be a problem because that's how you're going to win, against the better teams. But you just want to build good habits and build confidence in these players, and that's what they're going to try to do majority of this year. while still trying to acquire more talent or trying to find a way to do that in the draft or in the free agency. And then we'll see what the Bulls are and what they're going to be in the future. But right now, Billy Donovan seems like he's on the same page with the organization. He seems like he understands the direction they should be going in. He's really getting the best out of this roster. He's really getting the best out of the players that they gave him. I think he deserves more talent, but that comes with loyalty. We gave you your money. We gave you the position. Now keep showing us what you can do, and we'll try to meet you halfway. That's the only thing they can really do because nothing is really guaranteed. None of this stuff, is going to happen, in your favor. You got to compete against other teams for draft picks, compete against other teams for wins. And Billy Donovan has showed that he's one of the better coaches in the league, and they rewarded him with an extension. Now we want to see better talent with Billy Donovan so they can actually have a chance to win something significant besides a playing spot or even a playoff spot that gets them put out in the first round. But that's not going to be this season. It might be 2 to 3 years from now. But I would say I do expect the Bulls to be good. I do expect the Bulls to be respectable, but I don't really expect them to be a team that's making a crazy amount of noise. I don't see them being a lock for the playoffs. I don't see them probably even being a playing team. I feel like some teams in the East got slightly better, while the Bulls, they are just they I don't even know what to say. They so young that I just don't know what this team is going to do and what they're going to be. But I just know based on what I seen last year, even with Josh Giddey, who I won't end the video without mentioning, if Giddey can rebound and pass and find these guys and make them feel themselves and make them feel like they're better than they are while still scoring the ball and, collapsing the defense and trying to find a way to put pressure on the defense to make decisions, guys going to get a lot of opportunities and a lot of easy shots. And that's why it's always good to have a dual type ball handler, especially because Giddey is a big guy and he can see over the top of the defense, even at the top of the key. And that might be the best way for them to play when it comes to the roster as it's currently constructed. Now, you can look at Giddey as a 4, but he still does have to improve his defense too, significantly if they're going to be taken serious. In my personal opinion, that's going to be something that's really, really needed. But at the same time, they know they're what they're trying to do. They know how they want to play. They know the type of style that they need to continue to try to play in and with if they're going to have some type of success that a lot of us are not going to really try to give them credit on going into the season. But that's usually how it's going to be, and that's usually how it's going to go when you have a lot of talent that is very, very raw. And you have to go against a lot of teams that has young talent too, just more polished. And that's the problem that the Bulls is going to have is beating the veteran teams and beating the teams that's around their age when they just don't have the shooting, they just don't have the defense, they just don't have the size, they just don't have the rim protection, and that just may make them a high 20 or a mid 30 team. And if they become that, that might be good enough for being a play-in again, but it's not going to be enough to do anything significantly more than that, which I think they all have that as an expectation. I think that that would be their goal, is to make it just for the experience, just for the growth, just to showcase what they still have on their roster, even for the organization benefit. And if that's true, that's still looked at as above average season, just like they did last year. 39 games was a lot more than what we thought they would actually win as a young team, but they actually accomplished it. Most of us probably wouldn't gave them 39 last year, and they got it done. So if they won a little bit less or around the same amount, that would still be a good year for them based off how their roster is currently constructed and how they currently play and what they have available. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell to get analysis when it first comes out. Not only that, I also do conversation videos just like this about various NBA only topics. I also do breakdowns with real footage of legends, current legends, rookies, and also future stars. I also do mock draft and draft coverage, so you love that type of content. You can't get enough of it. This is the channel for you, and I think you would love and enjoy it if you ever checked it out, because I got over 3,000 videos already on my channel right now that you can watch and enjoy. Not only that, Also upload videos each and every day. So if you love basketball, you can't get enough of it, you want more of it, you can't stop fiending for it, this is a channel that will fulfill that void and fulfill that need. And most people love my content that subscribe or check the channel out like you did. So you probably might become a subscriber or a fan too once you see everything that I offer and you realize it's all for free. On top of that, makes a whole lot of sense at that point to want to be a fan or a subscriber at the end of the day. Other than that, thank y'all for supporting me in the past, the present. Hope y'all continue to support me in the future. Thank y'all for continue to appreciate the content for what it is. Continue to come back, care about what I think and what I want to show y'all. As a content creator, that's what matters the most. And I'm just glad that y'all have shown that y'all really love me as a person and really love the things that I do on this channel and how I do it my way compared to everybody else. And that's what a fan is supposed to be, and that's what they're supposed to do. And I just love y'all for being that for so many years. I've been in this game for 10 plus years, and my goal is to continue to keep going and give y'all dope content, as long as I can, as long as I'm living. So let's make it happen. Let's keep it going. And I need y'all to continue to watch and continue to support the channel to the best of your ability. And that's all I can ask y'all for. And y'all been doing it. I just want y'all to continue doing it even in the future. Other than that, I'm going for now. Y'all stay blessed up. Peace. And I'll see you guys later today or tomorrow with more analysis. And other than that, I'm going for now.